What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a budget gaming PC build in 2021 that I'm going to be putting together using some used parts. So the total cost of this build was $470 Canadian, which is about 370 US. So it should be a really good bang for your buck. As you may know, with everything kind of inflated right now, it's the best route to go. And when you're working with such a strict budget, I usually recommend getting some used parts. You can get more used parts, and usually that offers better price to performance, but you kind of have to sacrifice finding the parts and then dealing with not having a warranty. So I kind of found a good middle ground. I did get the motherboard and graphics card used. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys the parts, and we're going to put together the computer, and hopefully it runs well. So let's check it out. Alright, so starting off, the first component is the CPU. This is the Pentium Gold G5400. Now these are actually kind of hard to come across because of the whole mining craze, but if you do find one, they're a pretty good deal. I managed to get this one for $71, and it's a 2-core 4-thread CPU running at 3.7 gigahertz, so not too bad. It should be perfect for a budget computer like this. For storage, I got a cheapo Amazon SSD. It's called KingDian. It's 256 gig, and I got this one for $34.84, so not too bad for SSD of this size. Now next up is the memory. I always recommend dual channel if possible, that way it splits the load and you can actually get more bandwidth to the CPU. So I got the Patriot Viper. This is a 2x4 gig kit, and it's running at 2666 megahertz. This one cost $49.99, so not too bad. Now for the power supply, I was actually considering getting it used, but I couldn't really find any good deals, but I also didn't want to chintz out on it either. So I got the XPG Pylon 550 watt. Now I got this off Amazon. It's from XPG, which is a sub-brand of ADATA. I didn't even know they make power supplies. I usually know them for their SSDs and RAM. But it has pretty good specs. It's bronze rated, and it was for only $55, so can't really go wrong. So for the motherboard, I feel like I got a really good deal. I'm excited to show you guys this. So it's an Asus Prime Z372, and I was able to snatch this for $115. Basically what happened is the person already made this board to Asus, and this is what they sent him back. So it could be a refurb or brand new, but it looks in really good condition. And yeah, it has an M.2 slot, 2 PCI X16s, even a power on switch. So yeah, it looks really cool, so I'm definitely excited to check this out. But you could just get an H370 board or a B460 board brand new for around $70 to $80, or even cheaper if you look for used, but you could definitely save some money here, but I did end up getting this one. And for the graphics card, now for a gaming system, this is obviously the most important one, but like I mentioned earlier, because of the mining craze, it's kind of almost impossible to get a decently priced card. So I found this one, and I do think it's a good deal, even though it's a little bit older. It's a GTX 1050 from EVGA. This is the For the Win edition. I managed to grab this for $100 Canadian. I would recommend spending a little bit more and getting a 1050 Ti if possible, especially a 4 gig version, because this only has 2 gigs of video memory. I think 2 gigs is scraping it pretty close nowadays, but I should be able to get by with this. But yeah, if you can, definitely go for a 1050 Ti. I saw they're around 50 to 60 bucks more, so that's definitely an option, but I did get this, and I do think it looks really cool. Even back in the day, this was a great budget card, but yeah, let's see how it performs in 2021. Alright, so we need a home for all the components, so I grabbed the Azza Celesta 340 case. Now, I've never heard of this brand before, but it was pretty cheap at around $60, and it did also have a $15 mail-in rebate. It even has some RGB lighting on the front, which is going to add a little bit of flair to it. It does kind of seem light, so probably not the highest quality. But yeah, let's tear it open and see what it looks like. Alright, so I've just opened up the case, and I gotta say, first impression, it seems pretty legit. I actually really like the way it looks, especially with this grilled like texture here, and supposedly this lights up RGB. We got a dust filter on the top, power reset, USB 3, USB 2, and an LED switch from what it seems. It has a pretty solid tempered glass panel, not too bad at all. You got one exhaust fan here, but it does look like it could support a 360mm radiator. And yeah, all the expansion slots here. This does support a full ATX motherboard. So yeah, not bad at all. I'm actually pretty impressed. Okay, this is what the front looks like. It's kind of weird. I have no idea what this is for, but it's probably for the RGB. So yeah, that's the case. Alright, so everything looks good so far. I'm pretty excited to finally put this thing together, so let's get started and hope for the best. Okay guys, so here it is. The PC build is all done. I really like the way it looks, especially for such a cheap computer. I think it looks pretty nice. First thing I want to talk about is the case. For the price, I do actually think it's a good deal. They give you a lot of room to work with, and it does have some really cool features. For example, this RGB light at the front, which actually looks kind of cool. Now, a couple things I don't like is there are some cheap materials. For example, like that doesn't sound too great. And also at the front here, you can see, even though it does look like it has ventilation, a lot of these holes are blocked off. So I don't know why they would do that, but it doesn't really allow for much airflow to go into the case. But like I mentioned, you do get some space, and on the back side there's a lot of room for cable management and a lot of cable tie points, which really helps out. So overall, not too bad. You even get an option to customize the RGB on the front through this button here, which allows you to change the settings, as you can see. It even allows you to connect it to your motherboard, but it does use a 5-volt RGB connector, and my motherboard didn't have that. It only has a 12-volt, so I would have to buy an adapter in this case, and I know Deepcool offers one. So that is something to keep in mind, but at least you can change it from the front, which is pretty cool. One more quick thing I wanted to point out about the case is, another thing I didn't like is on the back here, the metal brackets that cover the PCI slots is one of those that you have to break off, so like those really cheap cases. And I don't really like that, of course, for obvious reasons, because you can't cover it up if you take out the expansion card. Luckily, they give you 2 brackets in the box, so that is kind of nice of them, I guess. And also the manual is on this card. So you have to scan it with your phone, and it'll pull up the manual on the website. And the manual is definitely not something to write home about, but I guess it does do the job. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Now the computer isn't the most quiet, primarily due to the CPU cooler. So if you did want to splurge a little bit, you can add an extra CPU cooler from $10 to $15, but obviously that starts bringing up the price a little bit. And at that point, you might as well upgrade the graphics card, because that is definitely the weakest link, especially for a gaming computer. Now I did try running some games, and I don't recommend any newer games, especially if you want to run at decent settings. And one of the limiting factors is the 2 gigs of video memory. It just doesn't really cut it nowadays. But you can run some competitive games like CSGO and League of Legends would run fine, and some older AAA titles will be able to run okay as well. But yeah, I'm going to show you guys some quick benchmarks just so you can get an idea, and hopefully you enjoy it. Alright guys, so there it is. The PC build is done. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really think it's a great option if you just want something to tie you over until you eventually upgrade or get a better computer. And it's probably better than buying a budget computer from Best Buy, and it's a lot funner as well. So there it is guys. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.